So, in Surah Al-Kahf, verses 83 to 101, we get this intriguing story about Dhul-Qarnayn. In the Quran, he's portrayed as a powerful and just ruler who travels far and wide, helping people wherever he goes. But what's really interesting is that there's been a lot of debate about who Dhul-Qarnayn really was. Was he the famous Macedonian king, Alexander the Great? Or is there a deeper connection we need to explore? Early Islamic commentators were divided. Some thought he was Alexander because of his vast travels and the fact that Alexander often wore a helmet with ram's horns, which seemed to fit the two horns description. But there's a problem with this theory. Alexander wasn't exactly the kind of person the Quran describes. For starters, Alexander the Great was a polytheist, believing he was the son of Zeus, and he was known for his violence and conquests, not exactly the image of the just and righteous ruler we read about in the Quran. So, if not Alexander, then who? Enter Cyrus the Great, the Persian king. If we look at the context, the question about Dhul-Qarnayn came from the Jews of Medina, and they were familiar with Jewish scriptures. In the book of Daniel, there's a vision of a ram with two horns, symbolizing the Medes and Persians. And that fits Cyrus perfectly. Cyrus was a unifier, a king who was both powerful and just. Someone who allowed the Jewish people to return to their land and even helped rebuild their holy places. And it makes sense when you think about it. The Quran describes Dhul-Qarnayn as someone who traveled west, east, and north. This fits Cyrus's journey. He expanded his empire across a vast region, from the east to the west. While Alexander's travels were in a different order, the timeline just doesn't add up for Alexander. The Quran also tells us about Dhul-Qarnayn's interactions with different people. In one place, he comes across a people living near the setting sun, where he offers them a choice: face punishment for wrongdoings, or live righteously and receive a reward. In another, he encounters a group living in harsh conditions near the rising sun. But perhaps the most famous part of the story is his encounter with Gog and Magog, two tribes causing chaos. The barrier he built to contain Gog and Magog is still talked about in Islamic tradition. Some scholars think this could refer to the Mongol invasions, which devastated the Arab world in the 13th century. Others believe it's an allegory for the breakdown of civilization before the Day of Judgment. Dhul-Qarnayn, in his wisdom, constructed this massive wall using molten iron to stop these chaotic forces from spreading. The story hints at a future, a time when this barrier will eventually crumble, signaling the approach of the last hour.